we're wounded by our own imagination. We're wounded, but it's our own craziness. This is what the Course says. We're upside down backwards. We are afraid of love, and we love our fear. We have it upside and back, and we react to them as if they were the opposite of what they are. You have but two emotions, yet in your private world you react to each of them as if they were the other, as though it were the other. For love cannot abide in a world apart, where when it comes, it is not recognized. What most of what we call love, it's not. It's just more of the ego's separation game. When we make special, we're actually separating. For love cannot abide in a world apart, where when it comes, it is not recognized, because love is union. It's not apart. So if you can't recognize it in a world where you're projecting separation, and where we're invested in separation. If you see your own hatred as your brother, that's what we're doing. We see illusions. You see the illusion as your brother. If you see your own hatred as your brother, you are not seeing him. Everyone draws nigh unto what he loves. We don't know what the word nigh means, right? Draw nigh, we draw near, right? Unto what he loves, and recoils from what he fears. And you react with fear to love and draw away from it. Yet fear attracts you. And believing it is love, you call it to yourself. But just let this sink in, because there's nothing in us in the ego that wants to get this at all. And it's going to throw up all kinds of barrages to like smoke screens. It's going to feel like, what is it saying? What's it mean? Just sort of let it sink in. Just trust that this is what we're doing. And you'll get it. If you're not getting it yet, you'll get it. If you see your own hatred as your brother's, you are not seeing him. Everyone draws close unto what he loves and recoils from what he fears. And you react with fear to love and draw away from it. Yet fear attracts you, and believing in his love, you call it to yourself. This is about your private world. We love our fantasy of pain and suffering and rejection. And we calling it to us over and over. And each and every one before us, we're projecting onto him and calling the same drama to ourselves over and over and over. But true love, we fear. We can't do that. Can't do that. Your private world is filled with figures of fear you have invited into it. And all the love your brothers offer you, you do not see. Okay, we can stop right there and take a break, take a breather. It's a lot, it's sort of dense, but I think it's spot on. To me, it makes sense. I'm wondering how you guys are doing with it. If you have any yeah buts, or if you're struggling with the concept, any questions?
So we just don't see it because it doesn't match our perception of what it is in our world, right?
Right. But not just that. We actually don't want to see it. Listen, if the ego is your belief in separation, that's what the ego is. It thinks it's its own autonomous, separate self, and it wants to keep itself. Love is a threat to the ego. It's a threat to separation. To the ego, that feels like death. You're no longer just yourself. What would you be if you had to let go of yourself and be in union with someone else? Be more than just yourself. Be a we instead of a me. That is extremely threatening to the ego, because the ego is a me, just me. It's so invested in its autonomy. In truth, we could never be autonomous. There is no autonomy, right? But we fight for that, and so we're literally afraid of what love is, and we think it's the opposite of what it is. It's a threat to us. We fear it. It's easier to see it with other people, right? It's harder to see with ourselves. In our world, it's all true. No, been able to be with a lot of people around relationship and conflict, and it's just every single one, almost every single situation is the same. It's so evident, and most of it is unnecessary. We're wounded by our own imagination. We're wounded, but it's our own craziness. Okay, are you all right? You're looking at me like, I don't know about that.
No, I just think so much like this whole love and fear thing. It's just like the whole parenting scenario, you know, you love them, you want to protect them. And so then you parent them out of fear because you're trying to protect them, but it's because you love them. It just all gets tangled up sometimes, you know, and it's, you know, you have to kind of, you know, unwind it a little bit at times, you know?
Yeah. Those are very challenging relationships, mother-child relationships. So, I mean, because you got a lot going on there. And at this level, you know, that's part of your job is to protect, right? So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so it can be very confusing. So what's the way out?
But I mean, obviously when they're little, I mean, you had to protect them, like, you know, don't go near the street and that sort of a thing. But I think it's as they come into those teenage years and those 20s and that, and it's like, you have all these fears, like, oh, you have to, you know, did you get that essay done? You have to make sure you do the essay because you're afraid they're going to fail. You know what I mean? Because you want them to succeed, because you love them. But it's like, you have to learn when it's like, they have to make their own, they have to go on their own journey and they have to figure that out on their own. You know what I mean? It's, you know, if they don't get the essay done on time and they get a failing grade, that's not about you, it's about them. And just like, but recognizing that and like, but still trying to steer them. It's a balance, I think. And it's, you know, it can be very trying.
Yeah. And it gets really challenging because you project in those relationships too.
Oh, absolutely.
Big time. Yeah. And so you're not really parenting them, you're parenting your projection of yourself. Mm-hmm. We feel that. Mm-hmm. We felt it with our parents, they feel it with you. Yeah, it could be great. That's why the way out is to ask. You have to parent them, but you don't have to know how to parent them. You ask and allow yourself to be guided. I don't have children, so this is easy for me to say. Though I've worked with a lot of younger people in my past, but often hands off is the best policy. When they get up into like late teens, 20s, it's like, you know, it's mostly hands off. You've done everything you can. They've ripened in the basket with you. They get to make their own mistakes now, and they get to have their own journey. And a lot of what we want to protect them from is our own projection. The
story that we're making up that's going to become their story, like that we think is going to become their story if they don't do these other things, you know? Right. Or follow what we say, you know? Yeah.
So. Yes, it's very challenging. This is not easy. I'm there with you. It's not easy, but it's easier when you're not doing it alone and when you're asking and when you're trusting, right? It's like, okay, it's going to be fine. Thank you for joining us for today's quick video of the Course in Miracles Discovery Meeting. If you want to watch the full version and be able to jump into the live stream and participate, please click below and join the Miracle Makers community. We are here to make miracles together, to make miracles happen for you and for the greater community as a whole. So please click below, become a member of the Miracle Makers community. I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.